Welcome everybody to the first session on working anytime, anywhere and virtual internships, a critical topic, not only for the future, but also for present times. It is an honor for me to welcome Mr. Pramod Bhasin to open this session with a keynote address. Pramod Bhasin was the former president and CEO of GE Capital in India, and following that of GE Capital Asia. Better known as the founder and pioneer of the business process industry in India, he founded Genpact in 1996. He is currently the chairman of Clix Capital, co-founder of Asha Impact, strategic advisor to Kedara, and founder of the Skills Academy. He sits on the governing board of HelpAge India, the India Council of Research on International Economic Relations. Welcome, Pramod. It's a real honor to have you.
Thank you very much, Priyanka. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you well.
And thank you, everyone. It's a joy to be here with everyone here, and especially with Ashoka University, which I am so proud to be a founder of, as well as just to be associated with. It is an astonishing achievement in a very short space of time to build one of the world's great universities. And, my congratulations to everyone who has been involved, particularly Ashish, of course, who's the brains and the real moving force behind it. I think about anytime, any place, 24/7 virtual internships as the topic. And I must tell you that my first realization is, why is this happening so late? Where have our minds been not to have figured this out very, very early and many years ago? With a company like Genpact, we had to work from home because many of our clients were 95% of our clients were in the US and UK, and they were up and awake in our evenings. So we all ended up naturally working from home. And if you go to the US and if you go to many parts of the world, you will find many of the executives of Genpact don't actually come to the office. So we have small offices. And by the way, this is true of Accenture, many other companies around the world who work either some other arrangement which allows them the flexibility and allows their workforce, far more importantly, the flexibility to work the way we want to. Let's research that as well, and therefore ask, why doesn't everybody do this? Why hasn't this been done before? It really need COVID to get us to this point. The fact is, we are all on our mobile phones. The technology has been available. Teleconferencing has been available. Chats and everything else has been around for a long time. So this process that we're going through has done some amazing things, I think. It's accelerated digitization maybe by 3 to 4 years. It's forced companies to make changes. Most companies, I've been building companies for a long time. It takes a lot to change the fundamentals of a company. People don't like change that much. We can use all the cliches on the world of how the world is going to change and this will happen, da 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 da. I've heard that, I've been working. I'm very old. I'm older than anybody else here. I'm probably older than some of you put together. But the fact is, these are the same words I've been hearing for at least 50 years. So something needs to drive that change. And of course, in this case, we know what it was, and it was the lockdowns that happened. But let's go back and think about, why did we ever have a 9-to-5 work day? Clearly, manufacturing, the need for people to come to a factory, the need for supervision, the need for shifts, assembly lines, manufacturing a product, things that happen online became really critical. And so the 9 to 4. which is driven perhaps by the need of people to work together, but also by the need to supervise people, by perhaps the fact that people didn't trust each other enough to say, come to work whenever you want, do the work you need to do, and then go home. That was in place. But today, we have trust, we have faith. I'll tell you a story, little story. When I was sent by GE here to India at the age of 40 to build GE Capital from scratch, it was a big responsibility. Nobody ever checked my expense reports, ever. I was an officer of the company, which is a very senior position. And I asked, why did nobody ever check my expense report? And the answer was very simple. We trust you to build a business in a new country, but we don't trust you, and we need to know where you eat, where you live, how you spend money. How does that make any sense? I'm sorry, can you hear me? I'm hearing some comments that AV is very poor. Is that right? Can you hear me? I don't know if anybody is.
Yes, Amitabh, the audio is not very clear. You're breaking up in the middle sometimes.
Okay, let me try moving to a little one. 1 second.
Yes, that would help. Thank you.
So my question to you would be very simple. Why a 9-to-5 workday anyway? Why do we need such an animal? Think about it. Is it to clock people in? The new company I work with at Clix Capital, we have no reception, no guards. Anybody can walk in and out of the office at any point in time. The rationale again is we trust our people to meet customers, do deals with them, do loans, etc. Why would we not trust them to not have to clock in and out of the workplace? Two, I ask you again, do the best ideas that we have come while sitting at a desk in front of a computer? Clearly not. My best ideas often come while walking around in the garden, traveling somewhere, being up in the hills with a drink in my hand, sitting around in the evening, chatting with Fred. They don't come in an office environment. Do they come when I wear a tie? Do I wear a suit? Thank God, all of those things are things of the past. And I have, if anybody wants 50 really nice ties, if anybody wants 50 really nice ties, I have them available. I'm sorry about the video, but at least I hope you can hear me. I'm going to stop my video actually, if you don't mind. And then tell me if that's okay, if that improves. Yeah. But these are the challenges of working from home. But so I'll keep going. So starting with a blank sheet of paper, the last thing that we would do is actually design a 9-to-5 work. Think about individual customization of the work hour. Parents want to look after their children in the morning and get them to school rather than rushing around themselves and to get ready. Conference calls can be done at various times, at the times that are best. Some people are more productive in the evenings. Some people are far more productive during the mornings. When is your best ideas? Where do they come from? What are circumstances do they come from? What environment do they come from? Do they come when you're looking out into a garden or over the hills or across the sea, or do they come sitting in an office again? So I've always found the concept of a 9-to-5 to be an unnatural act completely. And I would ask that companies must rewrite that. There are many challenges, don't get me wrong, I'm not underestimating them. One of them is clearly here where you can't see me, but at least you can hear me, I hope. And I'm hearing the comments, I'm saying you can hear me. And yes, there's networking, there's informal training, there's informal mentoring, there's examples, all of those things that we all miss. We are human beings, we need human interaction. But surely we are now at a point where we can actually absolutely pick and choose how we wish to work, when we wish to work, and how we wish to do things. I have a different screen that has come up. I don't know if you can still hear me. Priyanka, I'm not sure.
Yes, Pramod, we can hear you very well. The audio is excellent.
Shall I keep going?
Yes, please do.
Someone call me or tell me. Okay, great. So our point was, I wonder if the 9-to-5 workplace was relevant at any time. And the ability to pick and choose the timings when we wish to work provides enormous flexibility. I've also learned some wonderful things. When I'm working from home now, I get to know my people in this very strange way a lot better. You have dogs barking, children moving around, you have families going around. Anjali Raina was just speaking, I know her well, and behind her is her husband Ishan Raina going past, taking his cups of coffee and tea into the other room. It's wonderful, right? It makes it personal. You get to know each other. You get to know the circumstances in which we all live. In many ways, it makes it closer and much more personal than you would ever think. You're not wearing a nice suit and tie and presenting yourself in the perfect position in the office, and people are getting to know you in ways which are so interesting. Innovation and creativity doesn't come in a formal setting with fixed work hours and timings. Our ability to work anywhere, any place will, of course, intrude on our personal lives in many ways and intrude into weekends. I was listening to Amitabh and he was talking about it. But you know, these things will sort themselves out over time. We will learn some disciplines, we will bring in some disciplines, but it will allow us a level of flexibility, and the quality of our lives will go up to a point which will be very, very different. The quality and work-life balance that we can achieve through this will be enormous. But there are much bigger things at stake. The first one, to me, is true globalization of talent. You know, we've looked at globalization all the time, but the fact is, globalization of talent really hasn't taken place. What do I mean by that? It is the ability to reach out to people and experts anywhere in the world. At Genpact, we ran an experiment where we set up a virtual network of expertise, where we said, we're going to show up, we're going to show and connect ourselves with experts all around the world, not people who work for us, but just experts, software experts, all kinds of people. And what happened is, you can fire a question in, that question comes through to somebody who chooses to answer it. We pay them a little bit of money, and we get possibly the best answer in the world. I'll never forget, in one case, we had a question about using a software program with a hotel reservation system, and hotel reservation system, nobody knew how to do it, except we found a software engineer in Argentina who would fix that problem for that same company in Argentina, and bam, we got the answer. True globalization of expertise will only happen when we can achieve that. Two, as you're already seeing, conferences and webinars are becoming richer. They're not in person, but that means we can access many more people from all over the world much faster. We can do it very, very easily. People are more available, and the quality of the speakers we are now getting, and I'm seeing across this world, that we can reach out to who can teach us is better and better. And for universities and education institutions, you now have access to the best professors in the world anywhere at all. Think about universities and how they can get to best-in-class professors, educationists, everyone. That reach has just expanded, and truly we're moving towards the globalization of human resources and expertise, which is the ultimate challenge. There are astonishing progress being made in the healthcare area in China, using artificial intelligence and companies which are doing telehealth using robotics. Imagine being able to access that for our own expertise. I'm ignoring all the geopolitical stuff around China right now, but the fact is there are pockets of expertise in Israel on cybercrime. To be able to access that online would be so amazing. And you can do that now because it's anytime, any place. Technology is moving forward faster and faster. Technology always creates more jobs. It doesn't take away more jobs. So now all of a sudden, all those people who during a lockdown phase were not able to open and do business are becoming e-commerce specialists, delivery specialists, consulting specialists, counseling specialists, telehealth services are being delivered, expertise is being delivered on video, all kinds of innovative best practices are happening. And for students, it opens up this enormous plethora of opportunities. Don't get me wrong, there are many issues. We need formality in some levels. We need the informality of interaction. We need live presence. But I think we must get out of this straitjacketed way of thinking about life and ourselves, of being rigid with this 9-to-5 exercise that we've always gone through. Trusting people and giving them the freedom to work at the time when they want. We are already at Clix working 100% offline, outside the office. And we're finding no reason to open our office because we are absolutely perfectly efficient doing it from our homes. We've already given up half our real estate space, our office space. We did that last week because we just find we don't need all that space. Inevitably, we all go into offices. I'm sure we've all seen it. And everybody is working individually, sitting there, looking at their own desks, looking at their own computer. And there's no reason why that from home. So I think the construct and the way we think about work will change. Who will drive this? I think the people who will drive this are people who are creating the new workplace. They're thinking today about how do you conference, how do you sit, when do you come in, do you keep the office open 24/7, do you allow people complete flexibility? Bosses, managers will align themselves accordingly. But the fact is we have a chance to completely remake the 9-to-5 into a anytime, anywhere capability. If you look at internships, think about Ashoka University and the internships we could offer. I've just been working on a project. I've been working on 3 or 4 projects during this time. I worked on a project to look at the Punjab government's growth prospects after COVID, reform that. I'm working with Ashoka Impact, which is a company which I founded with Vikram Gandhi, to look at, and Vikram started at Ashoka, of course, and now teaches at Harvard. We're doing a variety of projects there. We've done a whole bunch of projects along COVID with the AAP government here in Delhi. In every one of these cases, we've been able to bring in students who've been wanting to offer. It's a little progression in the talk, sir. I'm not sure what that means. Who've been wanting to offer their services, and those internships have been magical. People have worked in their own time. People have worked on projects which otherwise, frankly, I don't think work on. The hidden benefit of this is that we are all interacting far greater and in far greater terms than we've ever done in the past, perhaps, and in a collective forum which is this strong. I didn't expect this. I never thought technology and Zoom and everything else would lead us to a point where these things would happen. I never expected MIT and Princeton and Harvard to go completely online as some of them are doing. I never thought that that would survive because there was an assumption that being in a classroom in front of a college professor is that critical. But yes, they are that critical. Yes, manufacturing cannot do it this way. But even in manufacturing, particularly with automation and robotics that goes on, it will change. Restaurants may not, retail may not. There are many areas that may not. But there are so many parts of almost every company where the concept of working anytime, anywhere from home must change. My belief is this will drive the competitiveness of industry and of businesses. Businesses that provide this kind of flexibility to their employees will win because employees will vote with their feet. You have many choices. when I was growing up, you couldn't become an entrepreneur. Now, I think perhaps half of you will become ultimately entrepreneurs. That widens the choice. And you're not going to go into a work environment which is rigid and inflexible and demands of your time, despite your having particular compulsions, which suggest that that timing doesn't really work as well for you as it should. A couple of other thoughts alongside this. It is an odd behavior for all of us to think about how we work, and I relate it a little bit to how you study. Of course, you go to classes, but all of you, I bet, study in many, many different ways. Some are better at night, some are better in the morning, some prefer the study, some prefer the library, some prefer their own room. We're all creatures of our own habits, of our own conversation. Why don't we build offices like that? Why don't we build hostels which allow us to accommodate that? Why don't businesses work in the same manner to allow you that enormous degree of flexibility, which is, as somebody said, I posted a note here, which I just caught very quickly. It shows you in your true natural avatar. When I do investments in companies in Estonia and Scandinavia and other places, which I've been doing recently as a venture capitalist, all of them work with enormous discipline at what they do. But the concept of having to force that through timing, through habits, through presence and physical presence in certain areas, those basic premises have changed. Particularly in the hubs which you go to of innovation and creativity, like Israel, certainly Scandinavia. If you go, please get a chance, go to Estonia, go to Sweden, visit these places. They are far less formal than even, I would say, Silicon Valley is, certainly New York. And yes, we need a lot more capability to be built up through broadband and everything else that we need. Just like now, our underlying broadband capacity is just not good enough. But we have a chance to completely remake how we do this, how we collaborate, how we talk to each other, and profoundly change not just the way the companies work, but the own balance in our own lives. Our lives have been driven by a level of rigidity, which I am convinced was born of a lack of trust. You went to the office in the morning, you clocked in, your boss made sure you were there, somebody else made sure you were around. You don't need that today. Services, which are the fastest growing industry in the world, don't need a physical space to be delivered. If you think even about customer care executives, very simple work, even that is very quickly getting dissected across Americas, across many other countries, into the so-called gig workers that will actually really go and allow lots of people to interact and allow a lot of people to work from home. Most of all, which I love the most, it brings an enormous number of women into the workforce. Too many of them are burdened by the fact that they carry a disproportionate amount of responsibility for home and work. But the fact is, if you are able to provide this kind of flexibility to work part-time, to work from where you want, it brings back into the workforce so many women of extraordinary talent who would be able to contribute massively. Imagine also the sheer environmental impact of fewer commuters, the pain of that morning ride. By the time you arrive in the office, you are frazzled already if you've had to ride for a long time. And on our roads, in our traffic, as we know, that is no joy. I used to travel, I remember I used to live in Princeton and travel to New York. I would travel 1 hour, 40 minutes each way. Drive by car to the station, get into the train, spend 50, 60 minutes on the train, get a subway, get out of the subway, walk to the office, and I would reach there in 1 hour, 40 minutes. And I spent 3 years of my life doing that. If I count up the hours, I wonder how much of my life I spent just getting from one place to the other. Surely that cannot be the purpose of our lives. With that, I know I am, no, I have a few more minutes. Okay. I'm sure somebody will stop me the moment you need to, or perhaps they can't connect with me, so they can't stop me anyway, and I can go on forever. Sorry, just a bad joke, but that could happen. Priyanka's here.
Pramod, so yes, this session was still, the next session has to start at 11:45.
Right, right. That's what I thought. But yeah, last comment. So I hope you will all use this time to drive change in the people you know and the companies you work for. Virtual internships, I'll sit here and offer you those in our places very, very easily because they're ideal. We don't need you. We need your brains. We'd love to see you personally. We'd love to interact with you. But most of all, we need your brains. And if we can get your brains, then we can do an astonishing amount of things sitting exactly where we are without putting you through the pain. I'm envious of all of you because I've commuted all my life. And now, especially when we started working from in Genpact, which we started, I think, at least 10 years ago. And I started that whole movement of letting people work from home. And we must have 10,000 people working from home now. But I must tell you, I'm envious because I love waking up in the morning and arriving at my work desk within half a minute without worrying about my suit and my tie and my shoes and gobbling my breakfast and enjoying the entire pleasure of being able to interact with you in my space, my time. That is a level of freedom we deserve. This millennium deserves this. All of you deserve it. I hope you will drive it in college also and say, you know, can I please do what I want whenever I want? The labs, are they open 24/7? Am I able to go to the library 24/7? Can I walk into other spaces because that's when I work best? And most of all, for the women who sometimes and often are stuck at home, I hope it gives a new opportunity and a new way. Revolutionary time, and I hope you will revolutionize the way we work. Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you, Pramod. That was a wonderful talk, and thank you so much for sparing time for us. You have given us a lot to think about, and about our adherence to a 9-to-5 job. In fact, that's what might have been our natural. Working from home is not always smooth, but as Pramod did, we step up and recalibrate, as we have been doing since the pandemic closed our offices down.